study, the undergraduate study. Prabhupada often told that Bhagavad-Gita is like undergraduate study. Srimad Bhagavatam is like postgraduate study, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is like doctoral study of Krishna consciousness. So in our attempt to read the Srila Prabhupada's commentary to Bhagavad Gita, we are actually associating with Krishna in the form of literature. So this is a book form of Krishna. So when we are trying to understand these words of Krishna, we should be very respectful. They are non-different from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada told that one can worship the book Bhagavad Gita. One can even offer bhoga to Bhagavad Gita. At the same time, the best way to worship Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, is to read them, is to recite them, is to try to make an attempt to understand them by one's intelligence. Hear the Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas' explanations to them and try to apply them. So that is the way we worship this form of Krishna, that is the book form of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we sit for study, especially in these classes, I request all to ensure that you have the book Bhagavad Gita in front of you, have a pen and a book, and try to read from the book directly. Of course, I will be showing the text on the screen too. That is so that all of us are on the same page. But nonetheless, it is very important to have the book in front and read from the book. Ideally, it is told that we should all be together, offline and read. But nonetheless, to take the benefit of the advancement of technology in Krishna's service, we are trying to read, though we are situated at different places. So nonetheless, we should have that mood of respect, the mood of personally associating with Krishna. So with those few words, let us quickly go to Bhagavad Gita shlokas. We were in the middle of first chapter. Yeah. Anybody would like to recollect which was the shloka where we had stopped? Practically a week before we had done.
27.
We completed 27.
27. Okay, great. Yeah, I also had put the marker. Okay, so we did the 26th shloka. Can anyone read the translation of 26th shloka so that we get the context?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please read.
There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his father, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers.
So Arjuna has asked Krishna to place the chariot in the middle. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayame achyuta. In these next few shlokas which we are studying, we should all observe what are the names with which Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna. Very specific names. And there is a meaning to them which is very relevant for Arjuna's mood. So he is telling Achyuta. What was the meaning of Achyuta we saw? Anybody recollect? We saw that.
One who controls the senses pollution.
Achyuta, not Rishi.
Makes everyone happy.
He says Achyuta.
Infallible.
Infallible, correct. So what was it that which is infallible about? In what context it is infallible? Prabhupada explains that.
He never fails in his affection of his devotee.
So infallible means one who doesn't fall or one who doesn't fail. Both mean the same. What he doesn't fail from, that is in showing his affection to devotees. His bhakta vatsalya nature is always very, very prominent in his character. So Krishna, he took the position of charioteer of Arjuna. and he's following the orders. So Arjuna addresses very kindly, hey Krishna, you never fail to show affection to your devotees, and you have taken the role of my charioteer. So please take the chariot in the middle of the battle. I want to see, last time we did see that, I want to see who all have come taking the side of this evil Durbuddhi Duryodhana. I want to, we did so much effort for peacemaking, but still it was inevitable. The war was inevitable. So after this, Arjuna, he can see now, because Krishna has placed, Krishna speaks half verse. He tells it in Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan, 25th shloka. So Lord said, just behold Partha, all the Gurus assembled here. In this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, very interestingly, Krishna speaks only for half verse. Only half verse. Much of it is spoken by Arjuna. Of course, there was earlier, Duryodhana was speaking, Sanjaya spoke, Dhritarashtra spoke one verse, the very beginning verse. But Krishna speaks only for half verse. But still, it's a very important chapter which is titled as Yoga. What yoga is it? What's the title of the chapter?
Vishada Yoga.
Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Another name for this chapter is, what's the another name? There are two names for this chapter.
Summary, contents of Gita summarized.
Oh, no,
Observing the army.
Observing the army.
So observing the army, or Sainya Nirikshana Yoga. And similarly, Arjuna's lamentation, or Arjuna Vishada Yoga. These are the two names for this one chapter, that is first chapter. So the first half of the chapter is actually telling about observing the arms. So he both Duryodhana described and Krishna showed, and then Arjuna saw, all that, observing the arms. The second half of the chapter is actually implied in the second title of the same chapter, Arjuna Vishada. Because in this section, we will see Arjuna laments. Why it happens, that we will see. So in the last time, we saw that Arjuna's chariot is placed right in front of Bhishma and Drona. And he's seeing who all are there in front. Usually, you see enemies in the battlefield standing opposite, but he is seeing whom? His own people, starting from people who are like his fatherly figures, who are like his grandfathers, teachers, uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, in-laws, father-in-laws, well-wishers. It's a gathering of family members, but it's not a gathering of celebration or joy. They are standing to fight each other and kill each other. This makes Arjuna really shaken. So now we will see the next shloka, 27. Let us recite. Tan samikshya sa kaunteya. Please repeat.
Tan
Samiksha Kaunteya.
Sarvan bandhun avasthitan.
Sarvan bandhun avasthitan.
Avasthitan.
Kripaya paraya vishto.
Kripaya Paraya Visto.
Vishidan idam abravit.
Vishidam Abravit.
Oh, Kaunteya. Kaunteya is Arjuna. So Kaunteya Arjuna, Samiksha. Samiksha means to see. Like sometimes they do, what is it? Election Samiksha. Political Samiksha. Means it's a kind of survey or seeing. So Arjuna saw all the Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan. All his family members are there. And seeing them, what happened? Kripaya Paraya Vishto. His heart became overwhelmed by compassion. And a very specific feeling arose in his heart. What is that? Vishidan. What does Vishidan mean? See the word meaning?
That's straight division.
What is it mentioned? Vishidan. Lament. Yes. Read the translation. Who is reading? Please. Who's reading? Please show up by hand.
I
Please.
can read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
When the son of Kunti Arjuna
Hmm.
saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he
Yeah.
became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
So Arjuna starts speaking from here. Earlier he had just told to place the chariot. Now, seeing the people gathered in front, he starts speaking. Arjuna uvacha. Drishtvemam swajanam Krishna
Svajanam Krishna
yutsum samupasthitam
Yusam Samupasthitam
idanti mama gatrani
Sidanti Mama
Gatrani
mukham cha parishushyati.
Mukham cha parishishyati.
So he says, hey Krishna, I am seeing my own people, Svajana, my people, Svajana. And what are they doing? They are eager to fight, Yuyutsu. They are eager to fight and they are situated on both sides. Seeing that, my Gatrani means, see the word to word meaning? Gatrani.
Limbs of the body.
Limbs of the body, Gatrani. Gatra means actually body. So Sidanti, it is quivering, it is trembling, it's shaking. Seeing that my own people are in front to kill me, or that I have to kill them, that my body limbs are shaking. And what else is happening? Mukham cha parishushyati. My mouth is getting dried up. Shushyati, parishushyati means to get dried up. See, very interestingly, it's not first time that Arjuna is facing Kauravas. He has already faced, including Bhishma, Drona, Karna also was there that time. Many were there that time. Is it that he's afraid that this is happening to him? When had he faced them earlier? Can someone recollect? When had he faced
Virata
them?
Parva.
Virata Parva. Very good. In that episode where he was actually in hiding, he was called as Brahannala. He was riding the chariot of the son of Uttara Kumara. He's called as Bhuminjaya. In Mahabharata, this comes in the Virata Parva. So there, at seeing the great strength of Kauravas, this Bhuminjay, the prince, who was boasting of his strength, but he was not so much strong, he becomes fearful. In fact, he tells, take the chariot back. I want to go back now. He's so cowardly. That time, Brahannala, she actually is Arjuna himself. Now, he leads the army. He single-handedly defeats all. But here, the same people are standing. Why is it that he's having this feeling now? Earlier, it was not the case. Can someone guess? Why is that so? Is there something special here?
Dharmakshetra.
Dharmakshetra, how is that making difference, Prabhu? Means, in fact, it will favor him, right? In that sense.
Now he has to kill them.
Very good. That time it was just about defeating, not really intent on killing. Here, either you win and happily go back, or I kill you. Like that. It is like do or die. It's a situation of being killed or to kill. So seeing this, Arjuna becomes really Shana. Please read the translation, Mataji.
Arjuna said, "Oh, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth is drying up."
So mouth is drying up and limbs, bodily limbs are shaking. So last time we have seen about many important sections of this particular chapter. So from here starts the last section of this chapter. This chapter has, I think, four parts. We had seen, if you remember. In that, we had seen the first section, that is war preparations. Then we saw about victory signs which are implied by Sanjaya in his shlokas. He's telling to Dhritarashtra. And then we also saw Krishna's character of Bhaktavatsaliata. We saw this. Now comes the last section, that is Arjuna's doubts. So there are many reasons or excuses which Arjuna gives, telling that he will not fight. That he will say at the end. But there are many reasons which come from here. So in this particular section which we will see, we will have to locate the reasons. There are total 5 of them. I will show them beforehand so that you all also make a, when we are going to that particular shloka, you are actually making that mark of that argument or the reason which Arjuna is giving. Okay. So starting from shloka number 28 is the first reason or argument of Arjuna for not fighting. What is that? What is that? It's there on the table here. Are you all able to see?
Yeah, destruction of family traditions. Fearful.
No. Destruction of family tradition is much.
Compassion.
Okay.
Compassion.
I will come back to this table again and again. Do not worry about not able to make a note of it or so. Okay, so let us see from the shloka number 28. He is giving the reasons of compassion. See, when we are studying these reasons, we should also make a note that these reasons are the very same reasons with which any conditioned soul denies to surrender to Krishna. These are relevant to us. It's not that only Arjuna had these reasons or arguments and I don't have it. Even we also give the same reasons. So whenever someone is told, please take to Krishna consciousness, learn to worship Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. One of the first things people say is, oh, actually my family members, they are all following certain worship. And I want to be with them. I want to follow them. They will feel very bad. I don't want to cause, sorrow to them. I'm compassionate to them. So this is the reason which we give, is it not? So Arjuna was also giving the same reason. For Arjuna, it was to directly kill them, because the situation had brought him to that, So Krishna is showing a very extreme example here. Arjuna is his very dear devotee, but Krishna himself has put him in this situation to teach to us. So when we are going through these reasons, we also should relate to them. Yeah, these are the reasons which we also sometimes put in front. Our mind puts it, and we hesitate to surrender it to Krishna. We may have taken to Krishna consciousness, but we may hesitate to make a next step in progress in Krishna consciousness. Is it not? So understanding them is important, and how Krishna addresses each of them is very important. That is also shown in this thing. So as and as we go to each of the reason, you mark that much only, and please pay attention as we discuss. You don't need to write the whole thing in the very first row. I will keep coming back to the slide again and again. Okay, are we all together in this flow? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so now let's go to the shloka 28, which is telling which reason? Which reason of Arjuna?
Compassion.
Compassion. So he's saying, just seeing my friends and relatives present in such a fighting spirit, I am feeling I'm not feeling composed in my body and all. So Prabhupada gives a very interesting purport. In fact, he says about the qualities of Arjuna. See, we should very carefully study the purport of this and the next, because they are, in one sense, telling a very different side of Arjuna. Okay, when we study any Leela of Krishna, any pastime of Krishna in which there are pure devotees whom Krishna has placed them in such a roles, and they are acting to fulfill the mission of the Lord, then there are at least 2 levels to see the pastime. one level, which is the highest level, is to see that it is all arrangement of Krishna. It is all arrangement of Krishna. Oh, Arjuna is falling into this. It's an arrangement of Krishna. He is a pure devotee. He's following the desire of Krishna. He's acting in that role to fulfill the plan of Krishna. He's a pure devotee. You see him as pure devotee. The second level, I am telling there are many levels. At least there are 2 levels. The second level is a level for sadhakas. So Arjuna is showing how a conditioned soul, he gives reasons to not follow Krishna's order. In that sense, when we see, there are many lessons to learn. Sometimes what to do and sometimes what not to do. Both ways, these great souls teach us. They take up the role here. So Arjuna is taking up the role. In this first chapter, he tells us the reasons which we may give to avoid surrender to Krishna. Is it not? So in this particular purport, Prabhupada explains Arjuna's character from the first level. What was the first level? What was the first level of seeing the pastimes? I just explained. Who remembers?
Is all already decided.
Okay, already decided.
Arrangement of the Lord, right, Krishna.
Arrangement of the Lord, and seeing Arjuna as a pure devotee.
Pure devotee.
Pure devotee. Okay, so in that view, which is the highest level of seeing any Leela of Krishna, Prabhupada gives the purport. So he tells that any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord, see the purport, I'm just reading the first few lines of it. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in demigods, whereas a non-devotee, however advanced he may be in education and culture, material qualifications of education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. There is a very famous shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam which Prabhupada quotes below. You can see that it's way below. Let's read the translation of it. Mataji, please read the translation of this. One who has
unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring
material energy. Yeah. So if you carefully see, the shloka says that the one who has accepted bhakti to Bhagavan, he has all the gunas. Sarvair gunais tatra samasate sura. All the devatas gunas are there in him. See, very interestingly, when we see something good in a person, there is some foundation on which those good qualities are manifest. Yeah. So he holds some principles in his life on the basis of which there are some good qualities. Like today, you can see people who are talking about veganism. There are many people who talk about veganism, and people are conscious. Yeah, we should not kill animals. We should adapt to vegetable, non-animal, plant origin diet. Not even milk, not even any type of animal origin food. No wool, no milk, no leather, many things like this. So they are strictly against violence to animals of any form. So what is it? What is the principle, underlying principle? They see that the animals also are affected like humans are when they are put into violence. So this is the principle, right? Now, when a Krishna conscious devotee, he sees that animals and then he doesn't harm animals. How does he see? He sees, oh, Krishna has ordained some particular food for my body, that is vegetarian food. He tells it in Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Thoyam. And I should offer it to Krishna and then accept. And Krishna likes milk. Krishna says one can offer milk. Krishna says, there are many varieties of food he mentions. So that I accept. So what is the principle that a devotee follows when he is taking to vegetarian diet? What's the principle? Hare Krishna.
Sattvic food.
No, I did not mention just now. If you heard me, what was the principle I was explaining? How devotee takes to vegetarian food? What is the principle behind it?
Should not harm the animals, right?
Yeah. But more importantly,
Remnants.
because Krishna says in Gita that he accepts this particular food and one should offer to him and take. That's the principle, right? So this is how you see a quality which is based on a principle, is it not? Now, when people who are not following devotional or who don't have any particular philosophy, especially rooted in Vedic culture, their expression of good qualities is not eternal, is not long lasting. Whenever there is a situation which is affecting their enjoyment, they will change their principle. They will change their principle. Today you may see a person who is talking good about, one should follow vegetarian diet, this, that, and tomorrow he will say, oh no, it's good. I started meeting this friend who is also talking about this particular food. So he will change his principle. So what is the basis? Oh no, I just liked it. You're getting? So his principles are not fixed in Vedic literatures. So that is why the expression of good qualities of non-devotees is not long lasting. We may see them behaving gentle, behaving clean, behaving kind, but what is the underlying principle? They feel good. They feel good about it. Tomorrow, if their mind says, no, this is not good, that is good, then they will leave that principle. Are all of you able to appreciate this, the underlying foundation? So in the shloka, if you carefully see, which Prabhupada quotes, he says that what is that principle or foundation behind the exhibition of good qualities by abhaktas or non-devotees? You see this line? What is the principle or foundation on which the abhaktas are expressing good qualities? See it very carefully. There is something which is making them do. In this line, Prabhupada says here. Are anyone able to point it in this shloka or in the translation also? This last line of translation. What is making them? Manoratha. Rightly pointed out. Very right. So, mental plane. So, today their mind is telling something. That's why they are exhibiting some quality, which may be good. But tomorrow it may be different. As mind changes its state, similarly their behavior also changes. So in that sense, Prabhupada, the shloka itself is, how can there be any good quality in a non-devotee? Because even if it is there there for a very little time. The Vedic literatures consider something to exist means it should exist for present, past tense, and future. Not just momentarily. So a non-devotee who is acting based on his mind, how can he have any good quality? This is the shloka's meaning. It is coming in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada, why does he quote this? Is because Arjuna is a pure devotee. He is actually exhibiting the qualities which are like compassion, which is a very godly quality. Is it not? So it's a godly quality, but it is seen from the highest level. As I was earlier saying, 2 levels of seeing any lila. So this is actually showing Arjuna's soft-heartedness, which is a characteristic of pure devotee of the Lord. So Arjuna is not concerned about some, happiness for his own self. He's seeing, oh, other people are going to be harmed. And not only my army people, even the opposite army people are going to be harmed. See, Prabhupada mentions that here. Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, as far as his soldiers are concerned, he was sympathetic, but he felt compassion even for the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. So seeing this, he started feeling that, bodily quivering, all that. That shows that he is pure devotee of the Lord. So this is the highest level of seeing Arjuna's character. That is the pure devotee. Are all of you able to appreciate this? So Prabhupada is actually appreciating Arjuna's quality. What quality is appreciating?
Soft-heartedness.
Soft-heartedness, right. So in that sense, Prabhupada explains this purport. Now, in the next shloka, Prabhupada explains it from the level of sadhakas. Arjuna has taken up the role of a conditioned soul, and how this very same quality is actually unfavorable. It is an obstacle for him to take to bhakti or follow the Supreme Lord. Let's see that purport. Repeat after me this shloka. Vepatuscha sharire me Roma harshascha jayate Gandivam sramsate hastat
Gandivam samsate hastat
Tvakchaiva paridahyate. So many things, many limbs, his hairs are standing on end, his hand is slipping, the Gandiva bow is slipping, his skin is burning, which all show that he's not composed. He is actually in great anxiety. Please read translation.
My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning.
So Prabhupada explains, whenever a person, he experiences trembling, there could be two reasons. One is positive, another is negative. One is when a person is greatly in joy or ecstasy. Another is when he is fearful. Like we hear sometimes when a great devotee of Lord, he is experiencing that great prema, then his body trembles, his voice falters, his hairs stand on end. Like in Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, any of you recollect that verse where he says, when will I get these symptoms when I chant your holy name? Any of you know?
Nayanam galadashrudaraya vadam
Gadgadarudhaya gira, when my voice will falter when I chant the holy names. Pulakair nichitam vapuhkata, when I will have romanchan pulaka, tabanamya grahane bhavishyati. Very rightly pointed out. Yes. So that is positive, the positive reason of seeing the same experience. But here it is what reason? It is actually the second reason. So Prabhupada here explains Arjuna's character as a conditioned soul. So you should be able to make this difference, because it just seen both the purports actually show quite opposite. In the purport before, Prabhupada appreciated him for what quality? Soft-heartedness. But here Prabhupada says, oh, this is actually a material quality, which is actually laden with fear. It is based on material conception. So please read this. There is no fear from here. Yeah.
There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He becomes so impatient that his famous bow, Gandiva, was slipping from his hands, and because of his heart was burning Within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life.
So earlier there it was as a pure devotee. It's a characteristic of pure devotee. Here it is material conception. So it is just seeing that one incident at two levels. Okay, please make this difference very, very clear. So when we see great devotees exhibiting great qualities, we appreciate. When we see great devotees as conditioned souls, they're playing a role to teach us, we try to learn something. Okay, so going ahead, so this is explaining the argument of compassion by Arjuna. Let's not forget that. So he again continues the same. Nacha shaknomyavasthatum
Nomi avasthatum
bhramati vacha me mana
Ramati Vacham Me Mana
me mana
nimittani cha pashyami
Nimittani Cha Pashyami
viparitani keshava.
Viparitani Keshava.
Oh Krishna, you are called Keshava. You also killed a demon by name Keshi. You kill this anxiety of mine. You kill this, that which is making me feel so much tension. My body is burning. I'm not able to compose myself. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum. Brahma, my mind is undergoing so much of Brahma. It's getting bewildered. And what I see is that I am going to fight, but what I'm going to get in return is something opposite to what I expect. See, this is very important. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani. Nimitta means causes. And what happens? What is the nimitta here? Sometimes they say. Nimitta means cause. Viparita means opposite. Means I want to do something to get a happiness. But what I see is, if I do this, I will not get happiness. I will get opposite of it. What is that? Sadness, sorrow. So why should I do it? If I try to do it, what I get is opposite of what I want. So what is the point in doing this? So Arjuna is actually questioning Krishna in this way. Can someone else take the reading? Thank you, Mataji. The others can also take up the turns to read. Please read. I am now, read this.
I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon.
So Prabhupada explains that Arjuna was unable to stay composed because of his impatience. He has fallen into what is called as weakness of his mind. So this is showing his role as conditioned soul. Okay, so what he has become overwhelmed is called as fear or weakness. So Prabhupada explains these two words are significant. You also should note this. Nimittani, viparitani. Nimitta means causes, viparita means opposite. Means this battle is not going to give us happiness. It is going to give us misfortune. It is going to bring much, much pain. It's called painful reverses. So Arjuna saw that this battle is going to bring only painful reverses. Even after I win, I will still be unhappy. So, oh Keshava, why are you telling me to fight? It is so opposite in its nature. So Prabhupada says, everyone in this world wants to work for his happiness, his welfare. But when he sees that something is, when he's doing, is not going to give him happiness, he will say, why should I do it? What is there in it good for me? Is it not? Like, say, suppose you are working hard in your project, and you understand that this is not going to add to your worksheets, or it doesn't going to count in your performance or in your even basic activities. So then one will say, why should I do it? It's useless. No sane man will put efforts in something which will give him opposite results. Is it not? So this is a very common thinking of a conditioned soul. What is in it for me? So Arjuna is showing that. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest, Prabhupada says. He thought that his victory also in this battle will give him only lamentation. Even if he wins the battle, he will still be suffering. So this is actually taking us to the next reason, that is the loss of enjoyment. The second reason which Arjuna gives, that starts from 30 only actually. So the first one was compassion. The second is loss of happiness or enjoyment. Even if I fight, what am I going to get here? You know, and then that comes very profoundly in the 31st shloka onwards. Let us see that. Nacha shreyo nupashyami. Please repeat.
Anupashyami
Atva swajanamahave.
Hatva Swajana
Nakangshe vijayam Krishna.
Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna
Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. What Shreya? Shreya means what? Please check the word meaning. Shreya. Sometimes we say what Shreya? Shreyas. You know, Shreya. Good. Shreyas and prayers. These are the two very familiar words. Prayers means a short-term thing. Shreyas means that which is really future or long-term good. So when we are fighting this battle, oh Krishna, what good are we going to get? Nacha Shreya Anupa. I don't see anything good coming from this. I am killing my own people. What good am I going to get? Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna. I don't want victory, oh Krishna. Then why am I fighting here? That's the next question, right? Usually, if you don't want victory and you don't see any good, what's the point in standing there in the back? Is it not? I don't want Rajya. I don't want Sukha. I don't want Vijaya. You see how Arjuna is thinking. Actually, he's taking up those mentalities. As I earlier told, these are the very same reasons which conditioned soul gives to deny or postpone surrender to Krishna. Read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Yeah, read. Yeah.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
So Prabhupada points that people of this world, they really don't know what is their real self-interest. We say self-interest or swartha. The real swartha of a jiva. Swartha, we usually consider it as something negative. Yeah, but real swartha means basically what? What is that which is good for oneself? What is the real good for oneself? It is in following the orders of Krishna or Vishnu, not in following one's body or mind. So one who is not actually educated spiritually or by scriptures, he will not see what will benefit him. In Shastras, it is explained, even if one doesn't consider devotion to Krishna, but in Shastras, it is explained, a person who fights and dies on the battlefield, following the dharma of Kshatriya, he gets the same destination as a person who has followed his life of tapasya, that is a sannyasi. Can you imagine? He gets the same destination because he is following his dharma, which is actually laid down by Shastras. So, Arjuna, he is learned, but he seems to be ignorant of this. See how the situation has affected him. What does he think? Please read this, Mataji. He thinks. Please read this highlighted part.
He thinks that by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in his life. And therefore, he is not willing to fight, just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook.
I'm not feeling hungry, so I will not cook. Sometimes those who are bachelors will appreciate it. When 2-3 bachelors are staying together, when one says, "Oh, I'm not feeling hungry, I will not cook," so other person, is it not? So the point is, one is so covered up, oh, I'm not finding any good from here. I'm not getting any enjoyment in this activity for myself. I will not do. This is such a bodily conception. Prabhupada in fact showed, even Shastra say, okay, if you want happiness, then follow Shastra, which is telling that, oh, you do your dharma, even if you die, you will going to get an equivalent destination as a great tapasvi or a sannyasi. So, but Arjuna seems to have overlooked it. He's in fact decided to go to forest and live like that, but he's a Kshatriya. He's leaving his dharma. So is that right? So somebody may question, but Arjuna seems to be has taken up that role of compassion. Oh, I will not get anyway good happiness from this battle. So he is considering himself fit to go to forest. He is forsaking his duty of being a Kshatriya in the name of these reasons. And in fact, that reason of loss of enjoyment comes more nicely in this 32nd to 35th shloka. Kim no rajyena govinda
Kim no
rajyena govinda
kim bhogairjivitena va
kim bhogayate va
yesham arthe kangshitam no
arthe kangshitam no
rajyam bhoga sukhani cha
rajyam bhoga sukhani cha
ta ime vastitha yuddhe
taime vasthita yuddhe
pranam styaktva dhanani cha
pranam dhanani cha
acharya pitarah putras
acharya putras
tathaiva cha pitamaha
tathaiva cha pitamahah
matula shvasura pautra
matula swashura pautra
shyala sambandhinastatha
shalam sambandhinastatha
etan hantumichhami
etanamitumichhami
natopi madhusudana
natopi madhusudana
api trailokya rajyasya
api trailokya
eto kim nu mahi krite
heto kim nu mahi krite
nihatya dharta rashtrana
nihatya dhartarashtrana
ka priti sya janardana. So 4 shlokas are put together. So it's very important that we recite these shlokas. That's why, so do not take that as a loss of time, but because they are words of Krishna, they are words of Vyasa, they're very purifying. We should do the recitation also. So please read translation, Mataji. Oh Govinda.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I have one question, a very small
Yes.
question. So are Kshatriyas not, they are directly not into become sannyasis something in these 4 varnas?
Yeah. So Kshatriyas what? Say again.
Kshatriyas are not, need not become a sannyasi, just something like that. Prabhuji?
Okay. So we are talking about 2 things here. One is Varna, another is Ashrama. So in the Varnas, we have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. There are some things which few people are Brahmana, few are Kshatriya, few are Vaishya, few are Shudra. But there is a spiritual order. The one earlier is social order. But the spiritual order, which everyone goes through, at least 1 or 2 or 3 stages, is Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So that is some stages of life. So usually people, at least the first 3 of them, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, they all should go to Brahmachari ashrama and learn from Gurukula. Then they take to Grihastha ashrama. Few of them may take, and few may want to continue as Brahmacharis. Then few may want to go to Vanaprastha, and very few may take to Sannyasa. But what is very, very important is that they take the training in the Gurukula and then they go to Grihastha. So these 2 are something which everyone should do. There are very few people who may go from Brahmachari to Sannyasa. So when we say Sannyasi, is it that everyone goes to Sannyas? Not necessarily. very few taken. But nonetheless, the spiritual advancement can be done by everyone. It is not dependent on specific varna or ashrama. So sannyasa is a stage wherein a person has developed such great dependence on the Supreme Lord. In this Bhagavadgita itself, there is a chapter in 16th chapter where Krishna describes the qualities of a sannyasi. In the very first 3 shlokas of 16th chapter, Krishna describes the quality of sannyasi, grihastha, brahmachari, vanaprastha also. So there he's telling that how a sannyasi should be fearless and he should be dependent on the Supreme Lord fully. So that is something which very few may take. Not necessarily that it's compulsory for someone who has to make spiritual advancement. No, not really. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can please read the translation?
O Govinda, of what avail is the kingdom, happiness, or even life itself? All those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield. O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight them, even in exchange for their principles, let alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
So very, very profound verses actually, which Arjuna is giving here. There is someone who is unmute, due to which a lot of disturbance is there. Okay, thank you. If you have to speak, please, that time you can unmute surely. Otherwise, please keep it muted. So, as we see here, Arjuna is saying, Kimno Rajyena Govinda, what purpose is this Rajya for? What purpose is this happiness, bhoga, or this even life after this battle? What is the purpose? What is it going to give me, O Krishna? Yesham arthe kangshitam naha. Rajyam bhoga sukhanicha. I don't see any good purpose in this. If we are killing our own people, with whom are we to share our enjoyment? See, in this world, very interesting calculation of a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is happy not just by getting things of happiness, but when other people appreciate him, oh yeah, you have so many things, then he becomes happy. Like say, suppose he got a very nice car. So he has gotten a car and he brings it in front of his friends and his neighbors and all. Wow, what a nice car you got, very good. Then he feels happy. He will not feel happy just because he got car. When others appreciate him, when he is able to share his position, his things of happiness with others, that's when he feels happiness. Is it not? Sometimes this famous quote is made, neighbors envy, owner's pride. It's one of the brand's title. So the conditioned soul always thinks, when someone is there to appreciate my position, then I feel happy. Prabhupada says this is the typical calculation of a material conditioned soul. So like this, Arjuna is expressing this here. So later he says, even if I am here standing, I am ready to fight here. But imagine this, that all of them are also ready to fight against me. Acharya, Pitaraha, Putra, all of them are ready to fight. Pranam Styaktva Dhananicha. They are also equally ready to fight, even putting their own lives at stake. Who are all they? Matula, Shwashura, Pautra. These are all the names of the relatives. My in-laws, my grandsons, my sambandhis. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to kill them, O Arjuna. They are your enemies. They have caused so much of injustice. They are doing adharma. No, Madhusudana, I am not going to kill them. Even if it matters that, even if I win Trailokya Rajya, even if it is that I have to exchange for the 3 worlds, I have so much of Rajya with me, but still I will not fight with them. So he has completely given up the desire to fight. Hetu kinnu mahi krite. I will not kill these sons of Dhritarashtra, Dhartarashtra. What happiness is it going to give me, O Janardhan? Janardhan is your name, O Krishna. You are meant to protect people. Jana Ardhana, Janardhana. But you are telling to kill them? How is it befitting your name, O Krishna? Your name is Govinda. You are meant to please senses and cows. You are meant to please me, O Krishna. But you are telling me something which is not going to please me. You know, Prabhupada explains them in his purport very nicely. See here. Can you read the highlighted words, Mataji, by using this? Highlight, yellow color highlighted one.
Read, Prabhuji.
Yes, read it.
Hare Krishna. By using this word, Arjuna indicates that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. But Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, however, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. Read
it. Read one more line ahead.
But one takes the opposite way, namely, when one tries to satisfy the sense of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the sense of Govinda, by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are
so Arjuna is thinking from his self-centered view. Oh Krishna, you are meant to satisfy me, but you are telling something which will cause pain to me. How are you called Govinda then? He is Govinda not because he has to give you happiness. Govinda, when we serve Govinda and please him, then the very service to him itself pleases us. So Prabhupada says, it's not that Lord is meant to satisfy you. He's not your order carrier. Like, sometimes we go to hotel and we place a menu. Hey, waiter, give me this. Sometimes we do that in the temple also. Hey, Krishna, give me this. As if Krishna is someone who is standing there to fulfill the orders of the jivas. No. And this is one mentality with which pious people may approach God. They may ask something. Oh, God, please give us good wealth, good social position, good facilities, name, fame, all this. They use God for their happiness. But Prabhupada says, no, Lord will satisfy senses as much as they deserve, not as much as they demand. And later he says that if one tries to satisfy Krishna or Govinda, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of Jiva are satisfied. Very interesting how the actions give the result here. So Prabhupada also points out the typical calculation. Please read this. Everyone wants to show.
Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna feels that all his relatives and friends will be killed on the battlefield, and he will be unable to share the opulence after victory. This is a calculation of material life.
So this is showing that argument of loss of enjoyment. Please know that here he is calculating what is good for, what is it that is gaining as happiness from this battle. No happiness I'm going to get. He's proving by all means. As such, my whole family will not be there. Whom I will share my happiness with? That's a calculation. So Prabhupada also says Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives. And if there were any need to kill them, Krishna should kill. He says, Hare Krishna, you are Bhagavan. For you, there is no, you are anyway Udasinavat. You are not favoring, or you're not attached to family. You don't have any reaction coming out of any actions. So you kill them. Why are you telling me to kill? Just see how Arjuna is thinking. So the point that he did not know Krishna had already killed them. It was already desired by Krishna to kill them. And Arjuna was to only become an instrument. Now, very interestingly, why is Krishna still wanting Arjuna to kill those people who are his own relatives? Is it that Krishna is so sadistic that he wants to put Arjuna in such anxiety, such discomfort? No. Actually, these people are great miscreants. They are adharmis. So, though Arjuna has forgotten them or forgiven them, what they did, no sane man can actually tolerate. Is it not? So Arjuna is he's in his big benevolent nature, he has forgiven them. The devotee of the Lord may not retaliate against wrongdoer, but Lord does not tolerate any mischief. After that Satsabha, where Kauravas tried to disrobe Draupadi, there itself, after Krishna got that news, he told, not even one of those people who were there in that Satsabha will remain alive. Except you 5 Pandavas, everyone in that will be killed, including Bhishma, Drona, all of them. Just see. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but not when one has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, Lord was determined to kill, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them. So this explains the second reason. Are all of you able to note this? First was compassion, and second is, what's the second?
Of enjoyment.
Loss of enjoyment.
So from here comes the third reason, which is sin. Oh Krishna, if I kill my own people, sin will come. If I kill my enemies, okay. But if I kill my own people who are affectionate to me, who are sharing my own family, the Shastras say one will have to face sinful reactions. That's coming in the next slokas. Papamevashrayed asman. Please repeat. Hatvaitan atatayina. Tasmannarha vayam hantum. Dharta rashtran sabandhavan. Swajanam hi katham hatva. Sukhina syama madhava. Oh Krishna, oh Madhava, if we kill them, Hatvaitan, then Papa will come. Even though they are Atatayi. Atatayi is a very important word here. What does Atatayi mean? Please check. What does Atatayi mean?
Aggressors.
Aggressors. One who has done aggression, greatly violent act, unjust act, sinful act. If someone performs, he is called Atatayi, aggressor. So they are aggressors, oh Krishna, oh Arjuna, they should be killed. But they are my own relatives. If I kill them, though they are aggressors, I will get Papa. So that's why they should not be killed, even though they are Atatayis, they are the sons of Dhritarashtras, they are my Bandhavas, but they are my Swajanas. So how is it that this action will be bringing good result? It is in fact going to give me sinful reaction and a future unhappiness. So it is told in the Shastras, there are 4 goals of life, which are called Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And there are Shastras also, which are for these specific purposes. There is something called Dharma Shastras, Artha Shastras, Kama Shastras, Moksha Shastras. So among them, usually conditioned soul is very rarely interested in Moksha Shastra or something like Upanishads and all, Jnana Kanda. But the first 3 of them, Dharma, Artha and Kama, these are very, conditioned soul is very fond of them. He takes to Dharma because it gives him Artha and Kama. So there are Shastras which say that one should kill other person if he has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They list. There is Artha Shastra. Under that there are Niti Shastras like Parashara Niti, Shukra Niti. There are many Nitis like them. So, but there are Shastras which are called Dharma Shastras, which say that actually one should not kill others. na himsyat sarva bhutani. There are smritis like that which say that. So if one reads these two shastras, one will get confused which one to follow. So Arjuna is confused. At one place the shastras say one should not kill any jiva. Another place the shastras say one can kill someone who has done this. So Prabhupada lists them in this particular purport. Who are those who can be killed according to Shastra? Okay, please read the translation. I forgot. Please read the translation. Who was reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Read, Prabhu. Yeah.
Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. Should we gain? O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune. And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
So, what does it mean as aggressor or atatai is explained by Prabhupada. Read this according to
Vedic injections, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. One, a poison giver. Two, one who sets fire to the house. One who attacks the deadly weapons. One who plunders riches. One who occupies another land. 6th one is one who kidnaps a wife.
Actually, these are important to remember. Please note them. So these 6 atatai, 6 types of people or 6 types of actions, if any of them one has done, one can kill such a person. Say suppose one comes to give poison. It's told that one can kill that person who has come to. Or one who has come to, put fire to one's home. One who has attacked with a deadly weapon. One who has usurped his own property. Riches and land, and in fact one he has mistreated his wife, he has kidnapped others' wife. And Prabhupada says later that actually all 6 of them were done by Kauravas towards Pandavas. So do they not have sufficient excuses to kill them? They had a lot, but they were actually exhibiting a saintly behavior, a proper dharmic behavior until this war. The war is a proper forum to kill adharmics. So when the war was inevitable, so Pandavas killing the Kauravas was very just. So according to the Shastra, which explains that these atatais can be killed, so Arjuna, if he follows that Shastra, he's acting properly. But there are other Shastras which say that, one should not kill them. Even if they are aggressors, one should not kill. One should not kill any living being. So in that case, Arjuna is actually saying, Krishna, you are telling they are atatais, but I know a higher Shastra which is called Dharma Shastra, which says one should not kill. See, his arguments are all based on Shastra. He's not just giving some whimsical arguments. No. So the point Prabhupada says ahead, actually a responsible man, especially a king, he should note all of this when he's acting, especially the Artha Shastra, Niti Shastras are very important for administration. Right? So Prabhupada quoted many times this, particularly Chanakya Niti. So Prabhupada says here, a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, but he should not be cowardly. That's why sometimes we call our kings as Raja Rishis. Rishi means a saint, but he is not coward. He is not afraid. He has to enforce the law where it is due. Like Prabhupada gives the example of Lord Rama. Lord Rama, so kind, so merciful, so forgiving. But when it came to act against Ravana, he did not show any hesitation or cowardice, because Ravana had done one of them, right? What had he done out of those 6? What had he done out of those 6?
Last one, Prabhuji, he kidnapped his wife.
He kidnapped his wife. Very interesting, important. So because he did it, Rama gave sufficient lessons, Prabhupada says, unparalleled in the history. But the case of Arjuna is a special thing here. because those Atatais are his own family men. That makes it more complex. Is it not? So Arjuna's dilemma is something we should all actually try to understand. It's not that he is leaving the battle out of fear, out of laziness. No, he is giving reasons of Shastra. So Arjuna thought that he should not take severe steps, even though they are aggressors, because it's saintly behavior to forgive them. So Prabhupada gives such a explanation here. And later, Arjuna is calling Krishna as specifically as Madhava. Prabhu, can you read this? Very interesting explanations. Arjuna's
addressing of Krishna as Madhava, of the husband of the goddess Fortune, also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as a husband of a goddess of Fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees.
So, Madhava, you are meant to give fortune, you are meant to bring auspiciousness, Mangala, but you are telling me to do this, which only gives me sinful reaction. No, I will not do it, oh Madhava, like that. So every word has a very specific meaning behind. We should appreciate that acharyas have given that actually. So by this, he is actually telling the reason of fear of sinful reactions. So that's the third reason. You may note it. It goes little more ahead also in the next shloka, but in the next shloka already the next reason starts appearing. That is the destruction of family tradition.
Prabhuji, this is the quality of a conditioned soul or of a devotee.
This is, it starts from conditioned soul. It also goes into someone who has started to follow the Shastras, but he doesn't have the complete understanding or the conclusive understanding of Shastras. So one who doesn't understand the conclusions may even get bewildered, though he's following Shastras. Like Dharma Shastra says something, Artha Shastra says something. On the bodily platform, see, Shastras talk both that which is important for living well in this world, and that is very paramount important to please God and to go back to God. Both they talk about, So there are some things which are highest conclusions of Shastra, that is to follow the word of Krishna, to follow the orders of Krishna, right? But here he is evaluating Shastra's understanding or conclusions on his own reading. That's the danger. That's the point. So though he's giving all reasons from Shastra, he is not able to come to conclusion. We will see that in the second chapter, Krishna, my understanding of Shastra is not helping me. I submit everything and please guide me now. At the end, he comes to this understanding. So the point is, at a material platform, even an understanding of Vedic knowledge also will not help one in resolving the problems of life, especially such dilemmas. So that's why one should have a teacher or a spiritual master who knows the conclusions of Shastra. A guru is one who knows the conclusions of Shastra. Someone else had a...
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Yes,
Prabhuji, one question here.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about aggressors,
just
because Arjuna is a Kshatriya, so for him, he has to fulfill his Varnashrama Dharma. So that is the reason for him it is okay to punish the aggressors or to kill the aggressors. But in the same position, if it is not a Kshatriya, but someone else is there, Brahman is there, or Shudra, someone else is there, then is he also equally qualified to kill the aggressor?
Then the Kshatriya who takes care of them, he has to take that role.
Okay, so but the other dharma people, they should not take.
They should take help of king.
Okay,
so usually the law and order is dispensed by king. That is his dharma. Tejo, Shaurya, Dhritir, Dakshyam. There are list of qualities of Kshatriya which Krishna describes in 18th chapter. So who can dispense law and order? Kshatriya. So one should take that person's help. And when that is not done, then Brahmanas take up that role themselves, but that's very rare. In Srimad Bhagavatam, some instances are there. when the king himself became corrupt, then Brahmanas actually they cursed and killed that king. There was a king by name Vena. When he became so demoniac, the Brahmanas killed him. But later they wanted a king, so they prayed to the Lord, and Lord told them, "You churn that body," and there came the great avatar of Lord called Prithu, who was like the avatar of administration, Palana Shakti. He showed the exemplary administration. So like this, there are specific duties in that sense.
So in the current world situation, then the police should be assumed on this.
I was expecting it as a follow-up. Okay, how should we act?
So we should actually complain to
I ask
police.
you. I ask you what we should do. Tell me.
My understanding that we should go and complain to police. That's it, because they are the Kshatriya here. They are the responsible people who has the responsibility to protect us.
Anyone else? Good. Yeah, one should approach the police. Yes. Anyone else? Any other solution?
If police is corrupt, Prabhu.
Yeah. So tell us what to do. You all.
No justice when we go to the police station.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So both we can try, at least in this miscontrived age, where people are not aware of their duties. Sometimes they are so much laden with self-interest. So one should not be so naive to lose out on his belongings or properties to serve Krishna in the name of, police should. One should also be intelligent. Prabhupada told it actually. When someone was asked Prabhupada, if someone comes to attack you, what will you do? Because there was a famous person who told, even if you slap me, I will not slap you back. I will show you the other chin and whatever on the side. Slap me. Prabhupada told, no, this is foolish. This is not Gita telling. Gita tells that you protect. You protect. Self-preservation is always allowed. One should protect one's human body, which is meant for serving Krishna, which is meant for dharma. Shariram khalu dharma sadhanam. One should protect. And whatever Krishna has given as a responsibility, be it of things and people, be intelligent enough to protect. So we need not lay that full dependence on police, especially when they are not followers of scriptures and all. So yet some things are there which we cannot take on our own, but some things we should be intelligent to act in the society. So it's a very topsy-turvy situation. Yeah. Yes.
Then in the Kuru Sabha, wasn't it the duty of? I know this whole thing of becoming a slave of Duryodhan was there, but wasn't the primary duty of Kshatriyas to protect a woman, regardless whether she is now a wife or no? But doesn't that supersede their being a slave to Kauravas?
Yeah. Actually, what had happened was, if you're talking from Pandava's side, Pandavas actually were put into a situation where they did not had any standing only in that society. They had even sold off their own body, their own everything, and at the end the wife was staked. It's a very, very strange situation. On that there are a lot of discussion about, even Draupadi herself asks, tell me, how is it that he staked after he staked himself? There are questions like this which she asks to Bhishma and Drona, and Bhishma and Drona are also unable to answer. But others who were there, they kept quiet. See, here Pandavas, they were put into a situation of such a dharma sankata, which Bhima was pounding his fist after fist. He was hissing like a serpent. All were so anguished. It was, but others, they were all others who were just standing quiet. So Krishna was very angry about that. So that's why I told all of them will be killed. Is that
Prabhuji, initially the Pandavas did mistake.
That situation has many lessons. Surely they also missed on that. Yeah. When Yudhishthira initially, he could not deny the challenge, but later when he saw Shakuni was playing dice on behalf of Virendra, he could have stopped. And it continued. And that episode shows, in fact, how gambling is very dangerous.
Can we say this was arranged by Krishna, so Kauravas could be killed, Prabhu, or was that?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, you can say that. But see, there are two levels, as I earlier told. There are two levels of seeing. You see everything as arrangement of Krishna, or you see there are some responsibilities for conditions. So when they did not take that responsibility, they became the causes for the next event, and that's why they had to bear the reaction. Like
yes.
That. Okay, so we cannot just show off telling, oh, anyway, it's arrangement of the Lord. Happened. Both sides are there. Okay.
Then Prabhuji, this is the free will for Pandavas. Like they have the opportunity to stop that.
No, in the beginning it was, but later it really went out of their hands.
Later it went out of their hands, but initially, if they can,
yeah,
they can.
Yes, Yudhishthira, that is mentioned. Yes, Yudhishthira actually went a step ahead. In fact, they could have consulted Krishna. That was one thing. Krishna himself was not there in that situation. So there are many reasons like that which Pandavas see. The point is, actually, Pandavas themselves show this. Though one should not see it like that, but there are some very rare occasions where Pandavas have exhibited that, yeah, mistakes do happen. Even Bhishma also. But how they acted after that, that's very important. Even in such a situation where anyone could have thrown off the dharma and I stop you, Duryodhan, and they would have used all their strength. Still, they were following dharma. In that sense, Pandavas are also glorified. There are various ways to see this one incident. But nonetheless, Krishna could not tolerate such an injustice on his devotees, and he acted through his devotees in this war. Okay, so let's go to the next reason, which is starting from this shloka, and this also has the reason of loss of enjoyment. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasa kulakshayakrutam dosham mitradrohe cha patakam katham na jneyam asmabhi papadasma nivartitum kulakshayakrutam dosham prapashyadbhirjanardana. Oh Krishna, oh Janardana, they are not aware of these subtler codes, subtler workings of this society. That how, if we kill people of this, superiors in the family, how it will increase what is called as adharma. They don't know it. But if we who know it, why should we act? We know, then why should we act like that? They don't know, they are acting ignorantly. And whether they know or not, we don't know. But they are acting ignorantly. But why should we follow like that? Katham na jneyam asmabhi papa asman. If we act like that after knowing, then papa will come. They don't know the dosha of kulakshaya. If a family, especially the elders of the family, are killed, what is that which happens in the society? They don't know it. O Janardana. Read the translation, Prabhu.
O Janardana, although these men, their hearts were taken by greed, so no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in the destroying a family, engage in this act of sin?
Why should we? So, like Arjuna, but they themselves have challenged you to fight. How can you refuse? But just because they have challenged, I cannot accept seeing that challenge is in fact bringing so much of misfortune, so much of sin. I don't want to accept this challenge, O Krishna. He's telling like that. Here you see. Can you read this, Prabhu? Purportfully read Kshatriya.
a Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight. Because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana, in this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, there's no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight.
Not to fight, So he's seeing that there is so much of papa which is coming, evil consequences there are in this thing. So he became, this is not to be done. Even they are challenging, but yet I will not do it. Like that. So what is it that happens? Kulakshaya kritam dosham. What is that kulakshaya will lead to? That is the next reason. What's the next reason? Any of you remember? Destruction. What does that mean?
In destroying.
Family traditions. When we destroy a family, especially elders, what all happens? It's a sequential thing which comes from 39, 40, 41. So let's see them, the 39th shloka. So what happens, how a society degrades when a family elders are destroyed or killed. This is a very well thought sequence which is explained in the Shastras, and this shows how Arjuna knew the subtler workings of the society. So all of us should try to point out those steps, in degradation of society. Kulakshaye pranashyanti.
Kulakshaye pranashyanti.
Kuladharma sanatana.
Kuladharma sanatana.
Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam.
Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam.
Adharmo bhi bhavatyuta.
Adharmo abhibhavate.
So kulakshaya pranashyan. Kulakshaya means the elder people of the family, superiors of the family. When they are destroyed, that means the dynasty itself becomes destroyed. How? Because when the elders are killed, then what happens? Kula dharma sanatana pranashyanti, or dharme nashte, means there will be no following of the kula dharma. There are some traditions in the family which are actually based on Shastras. They have some origin, some influence of Shastras, which are very important for following for those family people, which helps them in elevating some sanctity is there in society, some peace and order is in society, some elevation is there for family members by that. So that is not followed. Then what happens? Adharma abhibhavati. Then adharma, irreligion increases. Read the translation, Prabhu.
With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished. And thus the rest of the family becomes involved in religion.
So becomes involved in irreligion. So what is that rest of the family? Prabhupada will explain later. So if we see carefully, Prabhupada says in the purport, in the system of Varnashram, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of family grow. So there were these kula dharmas, kula sampradayas, some family traditions are there, like Pitru Pindodaka, or at this particular time we should follow this festival, Samvrata, we worship Lord like this, this is our behavior in this particular time. What happens in this situation? There are some specific family traditions. So when elder members are responsible for ensuring that it is followed, so when they follow it, then naturally people progress in their spiritual life. But what happens when they are killed, when on the death of elder members, what happens? Prabhupada says here, such traditions may stop. And the remaining young people, they don't have much understanding about the importance of them. They develop what is called irreligious habits. They become lazy. This is so much painful to follow this vrata, this following of this particular custom and all. So they take an easy route, which is often irreligious. And by that, they lose their opportunity for spiritual advancement. So this sequence is important. Please note that first thing is superiors are killed. the family superiors are. So what follows them is, then the family traditions are not followed. They are destroyed. Kula dharma nasha. Okay. Then what else is explained in the shloka? By that what happens? Something increases. What is that?
Adharma.
Adharma. Adharma abhibhavati. Irreligion increases. It doesn't stop there. Something more happens. In the next shloka, Lord Arjuna will explain that. Are all of you able to follow Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay. So now let's go to the 40 and we see further sequence of them. Adharma bhavat Krishna. Pradushyanti kulastriya.
Pradushyanti kulastriya.
Trishu dushtashu varshneya.
Trishu dushtashu varshneya.
Jayate varna sankara.
Jayate varna sankara.
Oh Krishna, adharma will increase. When adharma increases, what is that? See, we can appreciate here Arjuna's understanding, very fine understanding of how society functions. What is important to preserve, what is important to ensure, by a king, ensured by a king. It's very important. So adharma will increase. What will happen when the adharma increases? The very, very important thing to note here, pradushyanti kulastriyaha. The women of the family, they become polluted, they become exploited, they are unprotected. Irresponsible men come and exploit women. And by that, what happens? Trishu dushtashu varshneya. Hey, Varshneya, you belong to Vrishni dynasty, which is a very noble dynasty. You are telling me to do this? As Trishu dushtashu varna, when they are exploited, what happens? Varna sankara. Unwanted progeny happens. Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport. Let's read the purport, and there are many things to see in this purport. Let's see that. Read the translation, Prabhu, when irreligion. Read.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, shall I read?
Yes. Please.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
So, if you carefully see, Prabhupada, he says, in the purport also he says, that any society is largely determined on what type of population, any society, how it is, whether it is peaceful or it is, progressive, how it is determined, how the new population or the progeny is brought. Prabhupada says here, good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and progress. And how that is brought? The population is brought by the good consciousness of parents. Very, very important. So such population depends primarily on the chastity and faithfulness of women. Actually, women have a very important role in society. That they are responsible, in fact, largely responsible on what kind of population is coming to the world. Prabhupada says, read this, Prabhu, as children.
As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, woman will not be misled into adultery.
1 minute. We'll read the further, but just a point here. So there are 5 sections of society who have to be protected by a king. This is told in the Shastras. First is Brahmanas, who are spiritual guides, teachers. They have to be protected. Second is women. Third is children. Any of you know further? Brahmanas,
cows,
women, children, cows are seniors, that is vriddhas. 5. These 5 categories of people have to be protected by a king in the society. So in this specifically here, it's talked about children and women. So children, why children? Because they are so innocent, they are so weak. and their minds can be changed, and that could be very difficult to change later, when they are grown up. So that's why children have to be protected. One should see whom they are with, where are they safe, is their association good, all that. Prabhupada also says similarly, women also have to be taken care. So though women are grown up, so what's there? They can take their protection themselves, one may say. But still, one meaning of women is abala. See, here we should appreciate. Actually, this purport is sometimes misquoted or misunderstood, because Prabhupada will later quote Chanakya Pandit. Prabhu, read this. According to Chanakya Pandit, read this.
According to Chanakya Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashrama system. On the failure of such Varnashrama dharma, naturally the woman become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in the society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence.
So if you carefully see, what is it that Prabhupada is making a point here? Basically, women should be protected. There are very fundamental differences among different members of society. Of course, children are young, so when they grow up, they may acquire same abilities as a grown-up. But women and men are made differently. That one can observe biologically. That also one can observe mentally. Their mentality is different. So men tend to be more rational and women tend to be more emotional. They have a very great contribution from both sides. Both are necessary in a well-functioning of the society. Women are motherly, they're kind, they're compassionate, they're caring, nourishing, and men, especially a father, he is teaching what's right, what's wrong. He tells him how to stand on his own and how to follow dharma, many things like that. So one cannot equate on material platform. One should engage one's natures properly, which becomes favorable for their ultimate goal. So when Prabhupada here is quoting, he quotes here Chanakya Pandit very famously. This shloka comes, and sometimes this statement is seen as, just see, Prabhupada is discriminating here, women against men, and especially in today's day and age wherein there is a lot of gender sensitivity. People may use this kind of purports just to propagate some wrong understandings, is it not? But we have to very holistically see here. Vedic culture, it defines regulations for every member of society. There are standard prescriptions of behavior for every member of society. And that is for their good and their progress. Is it not? In the name of the false, actually equality they say, but it's false. When we try to artificially rule out those differences, then we can see a lot of crimes increasing suddenly, because those differences cannot be removed, they are so very obvious actually. So point is, Prabhupada here makes the point of women are not intelligent. What does this mean? This doesn't mean that they cannot come successful in education, examinations, so many competitive examinations or, like that. No, it's not that meaning. Here, what it means is, especially with respect to discrimination of what is truth or what is beneficial against that which is not really beneficial, especially at spiritual platform. There, the mentality of men have a advantage. But Prabhupada himself told in another place, when his own disciple, Her Grace Yamuna Mataji, asked this, Prabhupada, is it true that women are less intelligent or not intelligent like that? Prabhupada told, if one thinks oneself as women, then they are. That means when one thinks oneself as in that relation of body, then one is. But when one understands oneself as servant of Krishna, then those differences do not matter much, because it is Krishna who is guiding. It is Krishna who is giving intelligence. In the activities of Srila Prabhupada's preaching, we can see how Prabhupada encouraged. He gave spiritual opportunities for spiritual growth, even so much respect to women. You know, there are many disciples of Srila Prabhupada, like Her Grace Kaushalya Mataji, who actually led and conducted a very big Pandal program at Jaipur in 1972 or so. And Prabhupada was so surprised at it. He in fact told, she is no less than any GBC. He told it. There are some disciples even today who are leading in such a role. So spiritually, there is ample amount of opportunities. There is scope of growth for all type of people. But when we are talking about the functioning of society, there are some regulations to observe. That is where comes these 5 sections of society to be protected. Women have to be protected. There is always a chance of being exploited by the stronger gender. One cannot deny that men are stronger in physically, is it not? So they may exploit. So Prabhupada, when he was in a place called Chicago, when he was flying in flight, he saw that there are so much of increase of crime rates. It was in the Times magazine. And he made this statement. This is, and there it was listed that how government of America, United States, had a great burden of trying to maintain women who were having children, but they were left alone by the men. And Prabhupada, when he saw this, he felt so pity. And he kept speaking about it in his further speeches. Just see, this is because people are not taking responsibility. They are not following proper social orders. When you try to bring a false equality, then what happens? There is increase in exploitation. There is increase in crime. The Prabhupada told it. And people became really worried. They made sensational news. Swami makes statement that women should not be given such roles. Then they did not understand it. And there are many video conversations. Prabhupada speaks about them, that situation. So in the name of giving equality, what is happening is people who have who actually are ill motivated, they take such opportunities. And who is at loss? It's ultimately women are at loss, is it not? And the society's future is at loss, is it not? So Prabhupada says here, irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race. So how Vedic culture is far seeing. It's not just saying about about equality, or it is actually seeing the future of society, how a good progeny can come. When there is talk about when there is talk about regulations for women, how they have to be subordinate to their husbands, there is also talk about the duties of a husband, how they should protect, how there is a lot of responsibility for them. And so one cannot show off one's responsibility. One cannot shrug off, in the name of being equal or promoting equality or no. So at spiritual platform, there are equal opportunities. There is growth, and that we can see in Srila Prabhupada's actions. So just by this one statement, is it that Prabhupada is discriminatory? No. See his teachings as a whole. See his life, how he behaved with his women disciples. So that all shows that how what was this true understanding. One can make a true understanding of Srila Prabhupada by that. Is that okay? Anyone have any comment on this? Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhuji.
So usually these statements are actually pulled out and they are made into such a...
Prabhuji,
yes.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Like earlier times, even in British history, it is said that women didn't have the right to vote.
Okay, British system, huh? I don't know.
Yeah, even
Okay.
in the British history, the women didn't have the right to vote. It is probably after World War I, they gave the right for women to vote, because when they saw the women are also contributing to the industrial revolution, so they said, okay, women are also contributing to the economy of the country, they should have the right to vote.
Yeah.
But what do you think of this? Is this okay if the women should be given the right to vote or should not be?
Actually, those who understand how what kind of leaders should be brought, they should be given the right to vote. Not anyone. Even men also should not be given to vote if they don't know. If someone just floods liquor and some money and just tells them you vote for me, and then what he will vote? Then what's the use of such votes? Actually, Shastras say there are Brahmanas who know, who understand how a society should be run. Just not giving some freebies, just not giving some pampering. That should not be a criteria for choosing a leader. So Brahmanas, when they are electing someone as leader, they know, they see the quality. Like Dasharatha, he's putting Rama on the throne, but before that he asks his people, in Ramayana, his ministers, he's obliged to ask his ministers, and his ministers say, yes, Rama, yes, surely Rama. So that kind of analysis has to be done in a close circle of ministers. But of course, in today's system of democracy, we cannot bring that practice surely. So in that sense, basically a proper understanding of what are the qualities to be seen in a leader. That can be, whoever sees them, one should vote, not a problem.
Yeah,
because we cannot force now those principles, right? So right now it's a very different system. Okay,
Prabhu, thank you.
Okay, so let's I had a plan to complete this chapter. There are a few more shlokas, very important shlokas. Let's try to complete them. Sankaro narakayaiva
Sankaro
narakaya iva
Kulajnanam kulasya cha
Kulajnanam kulasya cha
Patanti pitaro hyesham
Patanti pitaro hyesham
Lupta pindodaka kriya. So the sequence was told that in the first shloka, there are 3 symptoms, stages were told. And after this, there was told that Kulastriya pradushyanti, women become polluted. And what happens then? Unwanted progeny, varna sankara. Now in this shloka 41, there are something more told. Okay, when unwanted progeny comes, what happens? Oh, they will not follow the family traditions, especially they will not follow what is called as Pindodaka Kriya. I will explain that. Prabhupada himself will tell that. And they will make the life, in fact, the society hellish. They will not have proper behavior. You may remember Ishopanishad mantra 12, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Prabhupada tells the dangers of mundane education, how people have become such a headache for the society. He mentions that word. So when people are not cultivating spiritual qualities, then they will make the life hellish for themselves and others also. And they will not follow some traditions by which even they will cause harm to ancestors, the ancestors of the society. So that is told in this shloka. So read the translation, Prabhu. An increase
of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
So Prabhupada says that the ancestors of the family, the forefathers of the family, some of them, there is a tradition in the family that there is something called Pitru Pindodaka Kriya. I think very shortly that season is coming after the Purnima, after Radhashtami's Purnima. So in which it is told that one should worship Lord Vishnu and offer the remnants, that is prasada, to one's forefathers. By that, one actually helps those forefathers. One actually benefits those forefathers. Some of the forefathers, they may be in some Pitraloka, or they may have in fact been suffering because of some act of theirs, So if one doesn't do these activities, then one is causing actually disservice to them. It's one of the duties of a family man to do this, to do what is called as pitrakriyas, like that. So especially when one has not taken to devotional service to Krishna, then this becomes very, very important. So Prabhupada says that when Prabhu, can you read this? Highlighted
When
part.
the remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from the ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery.
So the power of devotional service is such that it will also benefit one's forefathers. And if one becomes very sincere practitioner of Krishna Bhakti, then one is also benefiting one's ancestors. So one is not required when one has taken to devotional life, but there is nothing wrong in doing it. But one should have one's faith surely on Krishna. Like we see in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela also, he also did Pindadana for his father. He went to Gaya and he did Pindadana, all that. So there is nothing wrong. Sometimes one may be doing it, and devotee may do it because of the pressure from other family members who may not be properly devotees. He may do it so that others understand the proper actions to do. Those who are not devotees, they should have some following, right? They should have some principle in life. At least they should follow these kriyas. So there could be many reasons for a devotee doing it, but he is not required to do. He may do it for some other reasons. I hope you are understanding this. So, but he is not required to do, because already this devotional service he is doing, it is already giving much more benefit, in that sense. So Prabhupada also quotes a Bhagavatam verse where it is told, one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, he actually has no duties or obligations or rinas to devas, rishis, pitrus, all that. So by performing devotional service in that seriousness, one actually overrides all these rinas. So like this, one should one will leave those pindodaka kriyas, pinda udaka kriyas, by which ancestors actually may feel that fall. Patantihi pitarohi esha. So if you see, pitaraha patanti, ancestors fall down. This was the step. So then what else happens in this sequence? Lastly, it is told in this. Doshair etaih kulagnanam.
Doshairete kulajnanam
Varna sankara karakai.
Varna shankara karakai
Utsadyante jati dharma.
Utsadyante jati dharma
Kula dharmascha shashvata.
Kula dharmascha shashvataha.
So when such a Varna Sankara people actually are there, they will not have any interest in following what is welfare for family and community. Read this, Prabhu. By the evil.
By the evil deed of word.
By the
Hare
evil
Krishna Prabhuji.
destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children. All kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
So all such welfare activities are also destroyed. So there are such a well thought, laid out systems based on Shastras. So such breaking of Sanatana Dharma, read this, Makshi.
The breaking of the Sanatana Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society, and consequently people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos.
Yes. So if you see the sequence, the last one is Jati Dharma, Kula Dharma, Utsadyante. Community projects, family welfare activities are devastated. So how it starts, you see, when just the elders are killed. Krishna, you're telling me to kill the elders. Just see what all is going to happen. Arjuna is such a thoughtful man. He's not just giving reasons of, oh, I don't like this, I don't like bloodshed. No, he is so well thought, which is based on Shastra. So when superiors are killed, the family traditions are destroyed, religion increases, women become polluted or exploited by irresponsible men, unwanted population progeny comes, and the Pindodaka Kriyas are not done, ancestors are facing such consequences. And ultimately, welfare activities, community projects are all stopped. Hey Krishna, is this what you want? This is the reason of destruction of family tradition. That was the fourth one. And Krishna Arjuna continues in the next shloka. Utsanna kula dharmanam.
Utsanna kula dharmanam.
Manushyanam janardana.
Manushyanam janardana.
Narake niyatam vaso.
Narake niyatam vaso.
Bhavati kyanushruma.
Bhavati anushruma.
Anushruma. Anushruma means I have heard this. That if Kula Dharma is destroyed, it becomes almost like hell for the society. So he quotes that I have heard like this. Read this, Prabhu. Oh Krishna.
O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Always in hell. Those who don't have any principle in their living, it's like hellish, it's like animalistic. So Prabhupada says, just see, Arjuna is quoting authorities. He's not just telling his own opinion. He's such a proper follower of Vedas he is. Prabhupada points out that. And he also says that when a person acts something wrong, there is something called prayaschitta. And when one doesn't do it, then actually he incriminates oneself in sin and he creates hell. So by killing the Kula Dharma, one actually increases hellish situations. Narake niyatam vasu. And Krishna and Arjuna says, just see, hey Krishna, what kind of sin we are going to do by fighting in this battle? Aho bata mahat papam.
Aho bata mahat papam.
Kartum vyavasita vayam.
Kartum vyavasita vayam.
Yadrajya sukha lobhena.
Yadrajya sukha lobhena.
Hantum swajanam udyata.
Hantum swajanam udyataha.
Just see what great sinful activity we are standing here to do. By killing our own people, we are trying to desire some sukha by this rajya. Please read. Alas.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
See, such kind of actions are seen, even in whatever country it is, whichever country, the history shows that. All kinds of royal families have seen that, wherein people kill each other just for, in that race for power. Driven by selfish motives, people kill their father, their brother, their mother, whom not. So such selfish motive is bringing out such great sin. Oh Krishna, I don't want to do it. Hare Arjuna, they will attack you. They will not think like this. You are saying you will not kill, but they will come with a sword to kill you. What will you do? They will in fact see that, oh, you don't have any weapon. That doesn't mean that they will also leave away. They will in fact harm you. They will kill you. What will you do that time? Arjuna says, even then, I am ready to be killed, but I will not fight. I will not lift any weapon. He says this. Yadi mam apratikaram.
Yadi mam apratikaram.
Ashastram shastrapanaya.
Ashastram shastrapanaya.
Dhartarashtra rani hanyos.
Dhritarashtrarane anyus
Tanme kshemataram bhavet.
Tanme kshemataram bhavet.
Read the translation.
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
Read the highlighted part.
Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward position, he would not fight. All these symptoms are due to soft-heartedness resulting from his being a great devotee of the Lord.
That highest level of being, you see, he's a great devotee. So just see, so selfless is Arjuna. Prabhupada is pointing out actually. An unarmed, unwilling foe should not be attacked, but the others, opponents will not see Arjuna like that. Krishna says, no, I will not lift weapon. I will not lift Gandiva. I am ready to be killed. Such is a soft-hearted nature. Lastly, the last sloka of this chapter, Sanjaya says, what happened after this, saying all this? Arjuna did something. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva Arjuna sankhe
Evam ukta Arjuna sankhe
rathopastha upavishat visrajya sasharam chapam Shoka samvigna manasa. Read the translation. What he did, Arjuna, what did he do?
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
So he left the bows and arrows, he sat down. I will not fight Krishna like that. Leaving the bow and arrow is significant. It means he has left his dharma, his duties. It indicates that. Prabhupada says, a short, you can read from beginning. While observing, read someone.
While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot. But he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow and arrows. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge.
Self-knowledge. So Prabhupada, he concludes this chapter telling Arjuna's state, which is one of confusion and bewilderment and lamentation. He has come to Vishada. It shows both type of qualities. Some are saintly qualities, which is based on Shastra. Some are weaknesses, And such a kind, soft-hearted person, he is fit to receive self-knowledge. Not a person who has taken a position because of his own understanding or his own feelings or emotions. No, he is kind and soft-hearted based on Shastra. Actually, in the next session, I will elaborate much on that part. What does that mean? So in today's session, what did we do? We covered the 4 important, what are they? Reasons, right? So those 4 important reasons, the 5th reason is going to come in the next chapter's beginning. The 4 important reasons were compassion, loss of enjoyment, fear of sinful reactions, and destruction of family traditions. Okay, so that comes in the first chapter itself, and indecision comes in the next chapter. So these are very important because these reasons are very relevant for us, which also are this to some extent we also have as an excuse in hesitating to take next step in Krishna consciousness. And understanding them is very important because Krishna also will address them in the second chapter. And we also saw who are atatayis, some things which you should all remember. These 6 types of activities, anything is done, such a person is called an aggressor or an atatayi. And we also saw the sequence of destruction of or degradation of society, right from that 39 to 41 verse or so. In that, when a superior or elder member of the family is killed, then what happens next? Anyone? Any of you recollect?
Kula Dharma
Section of the
Kula
family
Dharma
tradition.
Family traditions are not followed. Elders are not there, we will not follow. Then what happens?
Adharma
abhibhavati increases, adharma becomes more. Then the kulastriya,
Women become polluted.
women become polluted. They are, the women come and take opportunity for exploitation. And then varna sankara, unwanted progeny comes, and there is no family, especially this pindodaka kriyas, due to which ancestors are falling down. They are not getting any benefit, and it becomes such a hell in the society. And lastly, it was mentioned that the jati dharma and kula dharma, the community and family welfare projects, are stopped, are destroyed. So practically, there is no spiritual direction for the society, just because the elder members are kept. So giving all this kind of reasoning, Arjuna shows such a well thought, very deeply rooted in Shastras, but yet he is missing something, which will become revealed in the second chapter. So we will see that in the next session. So because yesterday I was traveling, and I too also felt that all of you might be having a lot of services because of festival. I had to change the day to today, but the next class we'll have on our regular day. So we will meet on Friday 6:30. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavadgita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.